example, cocaine and heroin addicts destroy their cravings for drugs in usually less than 72 hours on the therapy. The human brain is capable of storing information and recalling it at any second. Like books in a library, the knowledge imprinted in this organ of the body can be added to without limit throughout one's life. The only obstacle that arrests or commences to subtract those books is long-term lack of nutrients and environmental toxicity. Dr. Gerson observed that when nutrients are plentiful and the body is detoxified, the brain is restored to normal function. When the brain detoxifies, calm and clarity return, mental and emotional fog lift. Over 2,400 years ago, Plato wrote, "No attempt should be made to cure the body without curing the soul." The body is miraculous in its design and flexibility. It is a forgiving machine. Even following decades of punishment, it can rebound. One of the first steps we can take is to avoid environmental poisons, even those we think are insignificant. Harmful fractions such as chlorine and fluorine belong to a dangerous class of chemicals called halogens. These chemicals are found in virtually all municipal drinking water and inflict severe damage on the body's endocrine system, particularly the thyroid gland. Fluorine, a highly toxic byproduct of aluminum manufacturing, is very dangerous and expensive to dispose of. Industrial principles once convinced the American Dental Association that it would prevent cavities, an assertion that has since been proven false. Nonetheless, they found a way to dispose of this product by putting it in the public water supply. The only way to rid the water of this dangerous chemical is by steam distillation. But there are other semi-hidden dangers in ingestion of daily poisons that can be avoided. Charlotte cites one example in particular.
Well, the dental amalgam is now coming more and more into the fore, even while dentists used to dispute it. It's interesting to note that the American Dental Association claims it's perfectly harmless in your mouth. However, if there is any of the amalgam left over from what goes into your tooth, if it's just left in the office, they are required to dispose of it as toxic waste. But in your mouth it's safe. Of course it isn't. And it's been clearly demonstrated that a lot of children have seizures and all kinds of mental disturbances from the dental amalgam, and so do adults.
The danger of illegal street drugs in public and private schools is heavily publicized, but there are wolves dressed as sheep that are welcomed as they walk through the front door.
The trouble with Ritalin is sometimes, first of all, it's never been tested on children under 6. And they're giving it now to children in preschool and kindergarten. If the nurse or if the teacher feels that the kids are restless or are causing a problem, then they report them, and the nurse reports them to the doctor, and without any further thought, they put them on Ritalin. It does cause permanent brain damage even when they quit taking the Ritalin, and the American services like the Army, Navy, and Air Force will not accept any person into the service who's ever been on Ritalin, because they are uncontrollable. They are mentally disturbed.
Rest is essential for all living organisms. During sleep, not only is the nervous system replenished like a storage battery being charged, but the body rids itself of poisons in a way that only sleep can accomplish. That is why upon waking energy is born anew. Sufficient rest is critical for children, and with the bombardment in daily life of hits to their systems in modern society, repeated lack of it can hinder and sometimes permanently damage a child's brain development. The developing brain of a child at this time in human history must clear a number of hurdles in a bid for genetic normalcy. Children are more vulnerable to environmental pollutants than adults because of their size and faster metabolism. One of the more publicized vulnerabilities is exposure to lead, especially lead from older homes where leaded paint was used prior to the 1970s. Remodeling and sanding of older homes produces a ticking time bomb if the dust is breathed in. These airborne heavy metals, along with numerous other chemicals in the food and water, are now, unintentionally, passed on to the next generation. But the removal, known as chelation, of such toxins, even heavy metals such as lead, is possible with close adherence to the Gerson therapy. Even the body itself can overproduce a substance that becomes poison in excess in stressful situations if the liver is unhealthy and unable to neutralize it. It's called adrenaline. Meet filmmaker Steve Krushel. Steve films and performs stunts for Hollywood films that push the envelope and the adrenal glands to the limit. In an occupation that demands split-second life-or-death decisions, the adrenaline flows in excess, and if not neutralized, can poison the body into illness. The potency of this substance is profound. When a drop of adrenaline is secreted by the adrenal glands, which are located like little caps on top of each kidney, it enters the bloodstream and is diluted instantly to between 1 to 2 billionths of its original strength. This would compare to one single drop of ink spilled into 6 million gallons of water. The purpose of adrenaline secretion is to accelerate the fight or flight response to protect oneself in threatening situations. The largest gland of the body, the liver, when healthy, is able to neutralize the secretions. In today's world, the abuse of this magnificent organ is relentless. Many people have liver disease and don't even know it. For the detection of a liver problem via illness requires the liver to drop below 30% of its full working capacity before symptoms become detectable. One of the Gerson therapy's main objectives is to restore the liver to 100% capacity and ensure its health. Another of this filmmaker's occupations is showcasing wild animals in natural habitats for public education as well as for the motion picture industry.
Working with wildlife all my life, I've learned about nutrition. Like this lynx here. If he wasn't fed correctly, he wouldn't be tame and happy and come to me when I call him. We live up in the North Country here, and lynx are found in the wild, and I use them for education. And they're very beautiful animals, but if they're not fed right, they don't have beautiful fur, they're not friendly, and they certainly won't come back to me when I call them. There you go. The Gerson therapy has changed my life.
This 43-year-old man follows the Gerson lifestyle as a preventative measure, and in doing so has acquired tremendous energy to achieve a physical workload equivalent to several people. Like many others who do not have degenerative disease, Steve is immune to even the slightest viral annoyances, such as the common cold or other discomforts such as headaches or other minor health hindrances. Because many of the animals are carnivores at the Wildlife Center, the health and reproductive ability must be maintained at highest levels. Several years ago, scientist researcher Dr. Francis Pottinger ran humane experiments with regular house cats that lasted several years. He divided his cats into various groups and fed each group differently. Some he gave certain cooked meats, some he gave raw meats. Those that received just cooked meats over a few generations not only declined in physical robustness, but were plagued with illness and had temperament problems. Eventually, they were unable to reproduce successfully. The feces from the animals receiving the cooked product was used as fertilizer to raise string beans. But the beans didn't grow. Some beans hardly even sprouted. The house cats given the fresh raw meat product thrived and produced through each generation successfully. Clearly, wild carnivores such as these were designed to hunt and kill,